About 6 months ago, I sold my M340i for this guy right here. And was it worth it? Well, this is gonna sound crazy, but yes and no. And you're probably like, what do you mean no? You have a G80, you went from an M340i. Well, fellas, trust me, hear me out. There is actually a lot of things that I miss about my M340i, which is why I'm making this video and why I'm gonna touch on this. But there's also some things that I feel like I leveled up in where I enjoy more in the G80 versus the M340i. So fellas, what is going on? Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel. This right here is my 2023 G80 M3 Competition X Drive, which, yes, it is decently modified, coming from a very modified M340i, but I'd say this one has some very tasteful mods. And yes, I did sell my M340i for this guy about 6 months ago. And I thought I'd make this video just because I felt like I probably was in the same boat as a lot of you guys with an M340i about thinking and pondering if going from that car to something like a G80 is worth it. I feel like I have some pretty good thoughts and wisdom because I feel like that's long enough to own a car to really be able to talk on it. So sit back, guys, relax. I feel like this video is definitely going to give you guys a lot of good, valuable information, so you definitely don't want to miss out. But yeah, my M340i, I guess we can start there. Do I miss it? I'd say I miss it. Yeah, I mean, that car, for what it is, I think presents incredible value. I mean, it was my first ever BMW, my first ever B58, and that's why I got it. I got it simply because of downpipe and tune. The M340i that I had was a 2020. It had about 24,000 miles when I bought it. I bought it for $39K. Got like a 7% interest rate on it at the time, so like a 699. So I think my monthly payment was like $680. So I was like, this is a great deal, man. I'm in a luxury four-door car, all-wheel drive, with a B58 motor, only 20,000 miles. I mean, for me, it just seemed like it made total sense. Obviously, throughout the progression of the M340i, I started to slowly modify it. We did the AA catted downpipe as well as the MHD unlocker because it was a 2020. I didn't need to do any femto unlock or anything like that, any fancy jazz. So simply just hooked up the ECU unlocker, boom, had it unlocked, put the downpipe in, flashed it, and we went straight to stage 2. That's the thing though, when I went stage 2 on that M340i, I only used pump gas at first. So I was on about 92 octane, whatever that'll adjust in the OTS MHD software. But that was great. I mean, it was a huge power upgrade. The car sounded way better. I just felt like it was unlocked, like literally and figuratively in that sense. So yeah, that was kind of like the first big modification where the car was already out of warranty. I was like, I got nothing to lose, so we're just gonna send it. And then slowly from there, the M340i kept building and building and building to eventually, I mean, we were on full, E50 or full flex fuel, E85. We had an upgraded DAS 6769 turbo, upgraded manifold. We had port injection. I had upgraded injectors, S58 injectors. Actually, the injectors from this car were in my M340i. I mean, we went down the entire rabbit hole with that thing. And I don't know if you guys saw my other video, but I think we were pretty much right at like 40K invested into that car, anywhere from suspension to performance, cosmetics. I had on the M340i full H&R sway bars, coilovers, front camber plates. I mean, it was dialed in. It was probably the most max effort M340i I could have probably went instead of just doing like a top mount setup. But for me, the bottom mount made more sense. It was way cheaper. I just felt like it was better value. I didn't want to go full top mount. So that was what I was trying to do with that car, get the most value out of it without going like too crazy to where it wasn't even really drivable. It was like a drag car. So I love the car like that and it was great, but obviously I was just not happy. I mean, and that's what they say, it's that forbidden pitfall where you just modify a car so much to where you basically just beat the pulp out of it, financially and part-wise, and then you're just like, you're kind of over it. You know what I mean? It just seems like you went beyond the happy threshold to where you're just like, it's just too much. You know what I mean? Like, it's a nice balance is what you're looking for, but I feel like I just went too much, and that's why I lost interest in it. I lost joy. So the only last thing I had to do on that M340i was build the transmission, but I thought, you know what, like I'm not even happy. I don't even want to build it out. So in that case, I decided to part the car out, sold it, went crazy on Facebook Marketplace. I think I might have got back like 25K of the parts that I spent. So if anything, guys, the market for B58 parts, M340i is crazy. I mean, I said I spent like 40K. I got back a little over 20 grand, which for me, you know, I'll take it, but it obviously took a lot for me to sell all that stuff, get it back to stock, revert. It was just a stressful kind of hassle. I mean, when I actually drove it to the dealer to trade it in for this guy, it was like smoking from the downpipe. There's like oil residue in the, it just was so bad. But yeah, I think the reason I'm mentioning that is just showing you kind of like my experience with my M340i, you know, and you're probably wondering, how does that even matter? Well, it's like, fellas, that's the car I had before this. That's what I did with the car. And this is how I ended up in this spot, you know? So those are the things that led up to this. So I guess now we can talk about this guy. And after we talk about this guy, that's where I'll kind of go through and break down, you know, if I think it was worth it, if this trade or this progression actually fulfilled me, if I'm happy, if there's anything that I would do in terms of reverting back, like, you know, maybe another B58 chassis, something like that. So where I left off, like I said, we traded it in. I got this guy. It was so hard to find a spec like this just because of these guys. I mean, the market for these, especially in my area, is so hard to find carbon fiber buckets. I mean, check it out. Oh yeah. It's probably one of the hardest markets to find these used for at least a good price, where dealers are not just gouging them, you know, just absolutely scamming people in terms of market price. But yeah, so it took me a good month to finally acquire one of these. I had to wake up super early in the morning, just absolutely boogied it up to the dealer, got everything figured out, worked out, said goodbye to the M340i, and we finally acquired this guy. So the reasons for me wanting to go to a G80 was pretty much just, I didn't want to deal with the hassle of all these modifications on an M340i trying to make it into something it's not. And my goals for this car, for a chassis, at least from BMW, was I just wanted something out of the box, ready to go, ready to rip. You know, I put so much time, money, and effort into that M340i for what I was trying to accomplish. It just didn't make sense. And yes, obviously my M340i was faster than this car right now, but that's not what I was looking for, man. Like, even though I had sway bars, camber plates, coils on that M340i, it just still felt like I was trying to make it something it's not. You know, it just felt like a normal 3 Series with all these modifications, and it felt like I was trying to put makeup on. I don't even know what I could use as an analogy, but you know what I'm trying to mean. It's like a landlord special. No, that's a good example right there. It felt like a landlord, you know, like putting white paint over random stuff. You guys know what I'm trying to say. It's like, that's what it felt with the M340i. It was just a landlord special of trying to be something like this, and it was not. And no matter what, I came to that point where it just didn't make sense for me to keep putting money into that car. And I eventually was like, you know what? This is not for me. I got to do something that's ready to go. It's dialed in from the factory. I barely have to do any modifications, and I just have a more capable chassis. So, and part of the reason that is just how wide these things are. The fenders on this car are crazy compared to the M340i. I remember I always used to think my M340i was wide, but I was at a stoplight and a G80 pulled up, and I was just looking at it from behind, and I was like, oh my gosh. It's got some curves, man. It is just way wider, way more road presence, center of mass, wheelbase, all that stuff. I mean, it's got some width on the road, and whoa. Oh, okay. I thought I had something there. Yeah, so that's what I was saying, like chassis-wise. I can fit 305 squared all around this car if I really wanted to. Pretty much I found out that the M340i, you're maxed out at 265 squared. I ran a 265, 35, 19, and I was really aggressively lowered, and we still rubbed in the front and rear, so I had to get camber plates put on, spacers, we had to tuck them. So I think you could probably do a 275, but I don't even know why you would do that. Like, you would be at the absolute limit and your camber would have to be nuts. So with this car, you can run some super girthy tires on it. This is just the factory setup right now, 275 and 285 in the rear. But yeah, basically the tangent I'm going on is why I traded in my M340i for this, at least for what my goals were. Obviously, also for social media, these G80s right now are just the hype. I mean, don't get me wrong, M340i is hype as well, any B58 chassis. But this is kind of the cars that everybody's talking about right now. And I just love the way they look. I love its presence, its stance. I love this color, Islandman green. This car just has way more appeal to the lay person. I mean, this thing just turns heads everywhere I go. I get thumbs up everywhere. People love it. They take pictures of it. I mean, that is a difference between an M340i and something like this, is just a status symbol. Not if that's what you're chasing, but I'm just saying just in general, like, people look at this car and see this car completely different than an M340i, which is good and bad. And that's actually something that I liked about the M340i, is it was more low key. You know, it's more of like a sleeper, even though it's not. But like, people don't know what that car is. They just think it's a normal 3 Series until they hear that XHP stage 3 downshift. They hear that turbo spool up, and oh man, like that is obviously a part of that car that I loved. Where, don't get me wrong, it is kind of cool making people happy driving around a car like this, just because, you know, kids, old people, just the lay person is like, whoa, my gosh, like, such a cool car. But the M340i is special in that sense as well. Basically, to summarize that all up, the reason I got this car was because the chassis was more capable. I didn't want to dump a bunch more money into mods. The S58 is nuts. I mean, I haven't even done anything to this car other than a 4-inch mid-pipe. I have AST springs on it, and we don't have any upgraded intakes. Downpipes are all stock, so it's literally just mid-pipe, mad valve controller, AST springs, and then I have 2 flashes on the car. I have the CS transmission diff damping flash, and then the CS DME flash, which is pretty nuts. I mean, it basically unlocked another, I don't know, 40 horsepower, 30 horsepower from the factory, and it's probably closer to wheel, at least from what I've seen other testing. So all of those mods together ran me 300, 400, 700, 800, like $2,200. $2,200 for this car to basically be at 550 wheel, which on the M340i, I mean, an OTS stage 2 is gonna get you on E50 probably like right at 500. I mean, unless you're doing full E85, like max effort on stock turbo, you're pretty much stuck there. So this car, already out the box for that amount of money, is disgusting. I mean, on springs, disgusting. I mean, the suspension is already optimized. The EDC is nuts. I mean, it is, I don't have to do sway bar. I don't have to do any of that stuff. Like, it is already dialed in from the factory, and that is what I love about it. I hate having to tinker and doing all these things. Like, yes, it's fun on a car that doesn't cost as much, because if stuff goes wrong, it is what it is. But my logic on something like this, you know, the parts are way more expensive. There's way more stuff that, you know, if it goes wrong, like, who knows what the cost is going to be. And also resale value, man. Like, buyers don't want a car like this if it's been, you know, tinkered with so much. Sorry, I don't know what is distracting me over there. Basically, resale for a car like this, I would not want to touch it as much, because it's going to be harder to find a buyer. And when you have such a delta where what these cars are going for now, to me, it's not worth the risk of modifying it to the point to where I'm gonna lose some resale in the future. People love these cars as close to OEM as possible, and that's why I feel I've accomplished that. I mean, I have the M Performance front lip here, haven't even touched the grille. That carbon fiber exterior pack is all factory. It's like, this is a very, very tastefully modified G80, and I think I'm gonna keep it like that, just because resale wise, boom, I can sell this like it's nothing. You know, I could probably sell it as is. Compared to that M340i, I'm gonna have to get a special buyer, and if anything, I'm not gonna be able to get much more for it with all those modifications, just because people don't like to buy modded cars like that. So in this case, it's actually better from a financial standpoint, which is why I favored a car like this to modify versus the M340i. So now that you guys know all the backstory, the real question, or the real reason you guys clicked on this video is because you're wanting to know, at the end of the day, was it worth it? And I say yes. But only yes in lowercase, because there is some things about this car when it comes to the M340i that I'm like, I think the M340i might have it beat in those categories. But I will say, for my goals and what I was trying to accomplish, I think that this car was worth it. That's why I said lowercase yes. The reason the M340i at least still appeals to me, and why maybe in the future I might go back to something like that, is probably the biggest one, gas mileage, man. That B58, I'm telling you, I would get like 40 miles a gallon, even when I was tuned, even when I was like 700 wheel horsepower on that thing, I was still cranking out 40 miles per gallon, not even trying. This car, you're looking more at like low 20s to maybe 25, like at its peak. I've had a couple trips where it's like 30 mpg, and that's when you're going absolute grandma mode, you know, barely even, probably like cruise control at like 60. So gas mileage, this thing guzzles gas way more than that B58. That B58 ran like a diesel, man, I'm telling you. So definitely more money at the pump with something like this. So gas money was a huge one. Also sound. I mean, don't get me wrong, the S58 doesn't sound too bad. I think I didn't like it as much, but now it's kind of grown on me because I own it and, you know, there's bias there. But I think the only thing that makes up for the sound of the S58 is the transmission, how it's set up. I think the ignition cut shifts that this Trans has gives it a more exotic, luxury kind of supercar essence to it. So that 100% makes up for it. It sounds like a DCT, even though it's just a torque converter. But still, sound, nothing compares to the B58, at least, you know, in this world, or for BMW. I mean, that engine is just nasty. You know, catless, catted with a full exhaust. I mean, I even have some clips of the B58. And every time I watch them, I'm just like, oh my gosh, dude, I can't believe how much better that engine sounds. But I know people have also been doing ignition cut shifts through XHP software on the B58 to where it sounds even nastier. So pretty much sound-wise, B58 is what I miss. Don't get me wrong, S58 still sounds good, but like I said, it is the trans on this car that saves it. I would also say a big reason the M340i I miss is my monthly payment. I mean, fellas, I went from a $680 payment to basically add $1,000 to that. Right now, this car is $1,640 a month. I'm financing it out for $90. Basically comes out to $1,640 through BMW Financial. My interest rate's a lot higher than I wanted, but that's just because of self-employment stuff. I got it through BMW at 9%, which is not ideal, but still, I mean, it's gonna be a couple dollars here and there, even if that was dropped. So it is what it is, but basically the jump is $1,000, which in my case, I'm not too big of a fan of that. I don't really like spending that much on a car. I mean, it seems so much, but obviously I use it for content. I use it for other stuff, so it kind of comes out in the wash, but still definitely not ideal, at least from what I'm looking for to spend monthly, which is why I missed out about the M340. I mean, that monthly payment was substantially lower and the value just felt way better. So, but don't get that confused with the value of what this car has, performance and stuff like that. I'm just talking about like monetary value. And then, like I said earlier, just the sleeper appeal of the M340i, I miss so much. There's just something about building out a car, which is really fun. It feels special. You know, it's very high, low, low. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a crazy girlfriend. I mean, there's just something about that which it makes it special. I know I mentioned earlier saying that I didn't like doing that, but don't get it confused. I do like doing it on a car like an M340i because the price is way lower. You know, if there is mistakes made, parts are cheaper. Where something like this, I mean, you got to be extra careful about who you're taking it to, even if you're doing the work yourself. There's just less anxiety about that kind of stuff. Plus, you don't really even need anything for this car much. Like I said, this thing's probably making close to 550. You know, wheel, and I didn't really do anything other than a mid-pipe and two emails from BMW. I do miss that about the M340i, which is the sleeper-esque-ness of the car, and then also just building out a car is just, it's fun. It's definitely fun, but don't build it out too much or you end up like me. Fellas, I think that's probably the the main reasons. I'm trying to think if there's anything else between the two. Resale value is basically strong on both still. I mean, these guys are really in demand, whereas the M340i, depending on the year, you're gonna have a little bit of depreciation. It's not going to be, or it's gonna be a lot more than this, but still, I feel like any B58 car holds its value pretty well, as long as the miles aren't like crazy high. At the end of the day, this upgrade was worth it. However, I mean, there is part of me that really wants to go back to a B58 chassis. I think if I was to, hold on, I'm getting a call real quick, one sec. Guys, I got a phone call. I don't even know what I was talking about. What was I just talking about? Oh yeah, I honestly think, I know it sounds crazy, but there is a chance I might go back to a B58 just because I think you just got to get cars like this out of your system. You know what I mean? Like, this is an awesome car. And I think if I just had unlimited money, it'd be like, okay, sure, I'll own this car out. But I've already put 10,000 plus miles on it in 6 months. And I know 2026s are about to start hitting lots. So I feel like this is kind of my opportunity to kind of pump and dump this car. As much as that sounds cynical, but in the same sense, or in this sense, I think it actually is strategic, just because I got my dopamine from a car like this. I enjoyed this car so much. I mean, it's my first ever M car. It's my first actual, I wouldn't say super car, but you know what I mean, big league car. But I'm just a value guy, man. And the B58 it's really all I need. I mean, I don't need anything crazier than that. I mean, who knows, we might. I think for my goals right now and what would make me satisfied, and to where I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, $1,600 a month for something that, if I'm spending $1,600 a month, I need to be like jumping up for joy every morning, like getting out of bed, doing jumping jacks and stuff. So I love this car, but for the price tag, I just don't think it is enough to want me to sustain it. And yes, I could say, okay, well, maybe if it was lower miles and I had a better interest rate and I got it for under 90 or something like that, maybe I might hold on to it for a little bit longer. But I just think with those 2026s hitting, I think it's just time to switch it up. Plus, I like to switch things up. So I have some ideas of probably next cars. But fellas, I think if I'm trying to tell you if you should get an M3 or not, it is literally what your goals are. And in this case, my goals was a more capable chassis, barely had to modify it, and I achieved those goals and I loved it. I think this car was great, and it still is. And I'm still, who knows, I'm still debating or not if I want to sell it or trade it in. But I think I just want to switch things up. B58, man, it will always have a special place in my heart, and I think those are the best value cars right now on the market. The issue is, though, I don't know if I'm going back to M340i. I'm thinking maybe Supra. I think it'd be fun to have a two-door. The Supra's nasty. I mean, just way faster because of weight, stuff like that. I don't know. I'm debating about it hardcore. And then also there's some other cars I'm thinking, what is if we did like a B58 car and then some kind of American muscle, you know what I mean? So like we have more diversity. There's more stuff going on. I can kind of break this car into two, which I think would be awesome. I don't even know what tangent I'm going on right now. Anyways, fellas, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe because you never know what's going to come. It's also why we did the name change. That way I'm not just confined to this chassis. But yeah, all right. Well, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore, and I've been going on a crazy tangent. I hope you guys found this video valuable in some sense. Feel free to leave comments down below. But I'm kind of just sharing my thought process on this and why I'm potentially wanting to go back to a B58. As always, much love, and see you guys in the next one. Peace.